let's talk about some rules. So we have physical fouls, we have technical fouls, and then we have some other fouls that you can do. Now, physical fouls is we can't push someone, we can't pull on their jersey. If we slap their hand, then they get a free throw. So there's things like that. Then we have other fouls that are if you grab the ball, walk with it, that's traveling, that's foul. If you double two hands, dribble the ball, that's a double dribble, that's a foul. If you dribble the ball too high to where you kind of carry the ball, that's also a foul. If the ball comes up too high. There's little fouls like that that we'll get more into detail later on in the course.
Quick overview about the overhead pass. How and when to use it. When to use it. So you would use the overhead pass when you have a defender that's tight in the pressing, and you want to throw it over them. So it's typically used in the low post. We'll talk more about that later. But if I were Mark, let's say my defender is here, and the defender is a lot taller. Let's say the defender is taller than me. Or let's say we're the same. Let's say this is the defender, and we're about the same height. And I'm being tightly pressed. So I'm protecting the ball. I'll throw the ball, and I have a teammate that's just right there next to the hoop. I'll throw it just above the defender's reach. That's when we use the overhead pass. And with the mechanics of it, it's just through practice. You'll get it through reps. So typically, you do not want to put it behind your head. You want the ball up to throw, and you'll release the ball. Your hands fall through. Sidearm pass. So sidearm pass, it's also used to throw it to someone that's in the low post, which is someone that's near the basket with the center. And instead of throwing it over the defender, you want to throw it around the defender that's tightly pressing. So this is my defender. Let's say they're very, very tall and it's hard to throw it over them. So I might take it up top, turn the ball to the side, and then throw it back. And with sidearm pass, practice is the best on how to get the technique down. Now we're going to be talking about free throws. So free throws, it's key on having confidence, concentration, and technically sound shot. So in terms of technique, you'll want to watch for your grip, how you're holding the ball, your elbow positioning. You don't want your elbow winging out, you want it tucked in. And your line of sight, you want to focus on some part of the hoop or the rim that helps you. It'll vary from people to people. For me, I'm aiming for above the rim, the front rim. And so you want your feet to be in a nice, comfortable position. Not too wide, not too narrow, but I like to have mine slightly less than shoulder width apart. My toes are pointed forward, and my shoulders are relaxed. So my grip, I have my shooting hand laced on the ball, and my non-shooting hand there for support. So here I'll demonstrate a free throw. Typically too, when you get to the line, you want to be relaxed. You want to have a go-to routine, whether that's bouncing it twice, spinning the ball, and then shooting. It'll vary from person to person. So that's just a small example of what a free throw can look like. It's going to vary from person to person, like how your free throw routine and how your shot looks will be slightly unique to you. Now we're going to be talking about the control dribble. The control dribble is mainly a protective dribble where key points of it, the control dribble, you're maintaining possession of the ball. Your key objective is to maintain possession and not lose the ball. So key components of the control dribble. You want to be able to dribble with both hands and keep your head up without looking at the ball. That's one. So number two, keep yourself between the ball and the defender. So this is my defender. The defender's on this side. I wouldn't want to dribble with my left hand because with me dribbling here in this position, it's closest to the defender. I want the ball far away from the defender. The hand furthest from the defender. That's where I want the ball. And the third point is to keep your offhand in a position to protect it. This protects the ball, and it makes it more difficult for the defender to steal it. So the first point is to be able to dribble with both hands while keeping your head up. So you can see the court, you can see your teammates that are open, you can see the opposition, and you can see the rim. Second point is to position yourself between the ball and the defender. So if it goes to the other side, if I was right here, I would not want the ball in this hand, I would want it in the opposite hand. Third point, have your arm out to make yourself wider and make it situation be harder. Make it harder for the defender to steal the ball. Fourth point is to dribble knee height and below. And while you're doing this, you're in a comfortable stance. You need to advance in you're in an athletic position. So that's the control dribble, and we're going to build off of it in later videos.
Okay, now let's talk about rebounding and that mental aspect of it. So there's two things that come to mind. First thing is know your opponent. So what do I mean by know your opponent? Is if you know your opponent is a tall, good rebounder, you'll want to make sure that you really box out, or two of you box him out or her out. And then the second part would be always think that your teammate is going to miss their shot. That way you're always ready for the rebound. Now, if it goes in, perfect. You don't have to rebound. But if it doesn't go in, it doesn't catch you off guard because you're there where you need to be.
Now we'll be talking about the crossover drive jump shot. So with this, it's a variation of what we use when we're working out of the triple threat position. So this is my defender. And I'm here in the triple threat position. His hand is up, and his lead foot is his right foot. So with triple threat position, we want to attack the lead foot, which is the top foot. Whatever foot he has highest, that's where he's weakest at. Because if I attack this leg, it's easier for him to hit the body. If I attack here, it's not as easy to have to pivot like that, which is not the most ideal way. But turn it back. By the time he turns it back, if I'm quick enough, I should already have the shot up. Even if they're very quick and aggressive defender that recovers quickly, then I can expect to at least draw a foul in this position. So here's how it will work out. I'm in this triple threat position. I might take the shot, and I'll see his right hand raised. And when I see the right hand raised, that tells me that I can cross over because his hand won't be in the position to steal the ball. And on top of it, I'm attacking his top foot. So raise, take the shot, cross over. And so in this position, I'm positioning myself behind him to where when he turns, I'm cutting him off from recovering. Because if I were to beat him, and go here, he has an angle to catch up and cut me off. But after I beat him and I immediately stack and go behind him, he turns around, and if he goes too aggressively, then I can draw the foul. Quick rundown. Start off in the triple threat position. Pump fake to get the defender to raise his hand. First dribble, you have to cross. Out of the first dribble, cross over. Bounce. Make sure I position myself behind the defender to expect contact after he recovers. Find a set position to shoot from. Take a dribble. This example, we're going to give you a way to get open, moving off the ball, and one great way is what's called a pop So how this works is I'm the player that's receiving the ball. We'll say that the ball's coming from that direction. The screen is set here. My defender is on me, and I'm coming around the screen. And the defenders, instead of following me under the screen, they go over and they sit back to protect the paint. This would be used to get a quick shot off when my defender doesn't follow me this way through the screen instead of it zags off. So I'll come off the screen, I'll receive the ball on this side, catch, take in, that's a great way to set it up. Instead of just going straight to receive the ball, I might take the backdoor cut to get the defender to follow, and then my screen is set. So I'll go.
Let's talk a little bit about defense and the mental aspect of defense. So when I think about the mental aspect of defense, a couple things come to mind. So one is we got to know who we're playing against. If my opponent, let's say they are right-handed, then I would want to always force them to use their left hand because I know their right hand is their dominant hand. Another example would be if I have someone who's a really good shooter, I'm not going to leave them a ton of space for them to shoot, right? So I'm going to mark them up close. Now we always have to be ready for a rebounding, a pass, dribbling. We got to be quick and on our toes, ready to go. Another thing is judgment. So if I see someone that is way taller than me, I need to use my judgment and say, is it a good idea for me to mark this tall player since I'm on the shorter side, or should I have my teammate who is way taller than me mark them? So knowing what player to mark is another big thing.
Now we're going to go into a quick little overview of basic ways to stop. First way is the 1-2 stop. Second one is the jump stop. The 1-2 stop is when you stop using a two-step, pretty much a two-step. So you'll decelerate using your first leg, your second leg. And it can be left-right, or it can be right-left. But then with the jump stop, you'll dribble, you'll stop with both feet at the same time. So here's how those will look. Here's the 1-2 stop. See from there, after I pick up my dribble, I'm using my left leg to gradually slow down, and then my right leg, I'm completely stopped. Whenever you have to shoot. So for the jump stop, I'm landing in both legs at the same time to stop. Separately, not at the same time. And the jump stop is when you use both feet to stop at the same time.
Now, one big thing to remember is that basketball is a team sport. It's not an individual sport, so a big thing to keep in mind is what are your teammates good at? What are their skills, their strengths? For example, if I'm a really good three-point shooter, then I would want my teammates to pass me the ball when I'm at the three-point line. Or if we have a teammate who's really good at free throws, then we want that teammate going up for layups as much as they can to get fouled, and then they get free throws. So always keep it in the back of your head, what is each of my teammates, what are their strengths, what are they good at? That way you guys can be successful as a team.